Right, let's look at another scenario of when you may qualify for the innocent spouse relief. That's this. Yeah, my ex lied. So basically, it's that if your ex lied on your taxes and you file jointly, and do you still own the tax? So let me explain this to you. So, for example, even if you split up with someone, right? And later you may find the IRS that want you to pay for your ex lies, right? So I know this is like a nightmare scenario because you may think, well, when you split up, when you like officially separated, like everything is done and settled. But this happens all the time. And when couples find like joint taxes returns and then you know what? If one of the spouse lied about it, and the other spouse just sign their name, maybe the IRS will still want you to pay for their lies. Okay, let me just give you some scenarios so you can you have the more realistic understanding of what the heck is going on. Okay, so for example, let's paint a picture. You and your ex, let's call the ex, I don't know, some Taylor, right? The ex is called Taylor, right? So you used to find jointly because you were a couple before, right? So basically, Taylor handles all the paperwork, right? And told you, don't worry, dear, I got all sorted, right? And then you know what? He just asked you to sign something here. Say, I will handle everything. It's too complicated for you, dear. Right? Some typical ex move, right? And then you know what? You sign it. You sign your name on it. They don't worry about it. And a few years later, maybe it's still fine. Okay? But a few years later, after breakup, you still got letter from IRS. And the IRS may, as a letter, just in plain English, that we found some false business deductions. Maybe your ex own business, right? So basically, you are liable to like own thousands in back taxes as well as the penalties. Okay, but here's the thing: you're innocent. You had nothing to do with it. You didn't even know or you didn't even see these numbers in the first place. You just signed your name to find the joint return. But in the eyes of IRS, you're right now still liable for those taxes, even though after you break up. Okay? So the core problem is fine jointly. As I said countless times, fine jointly can have a lot of benefits, but also it can have some of the complications. So something like this, if your ex lied. Okay, so basically IRS treat you and your spouse as one taxpayer. I mentioned this before, it's really important. So basically that means both of you are 100% responsible for any tax interest penalties, even only one person caused the mistake. Okay, that's just like an oversimplification, but that's the rule. Okay, so even after divorce, IRS can still come after you for your ex's lies. This is where I said Form 18857 comes in, because this is like a request for innocent spouse relief. Okay, because that's the qualification 2, the scenario 2 that we talk about in this video, because you've already divorced, right? You no longer living together. Okay? And because if you own tax, that basically is like a deduction or understatement, right? All this understatement can entirely from your ex action, not from you. Okay? It got like nothing to do with you, because this is a his or her business, right? It got nothing to do with you. And you did not personally benefit from all these false claims. So that literally means that this money or this benefit does not like go to your joint bank account or your account even, or then you later spend the money on taking a vacation together. Okay, you did not benefit personally from those false claims, and you do not spend money or gain from all these like false actions. Okay, so basically, if you want to use this request for innocent spouse relief, the IRS will review. Okay, that's the reason this form 8857 is so complicated and got so much of the explanation to do, because IRS will personally review both your financial record and your personal situation. So it's like a case-by-case scenario. They need to make the fundamental call, and they have to agree with your side of the story, right? Because if they agree, they will split their liabilities. So basically, your ex get the bill, not you. Okay? But it's a very delicate issue that they have to decide case-by-case scenario. So basically, what are you trying to prove here? Is that you want trying to prove to the IRS that, by filing this form 8857, that, you're providing information to the IRS, say, hey, I know that it sounds fishy, right? It sounds that, I know you treat me and my ex as like a one entity, and then you may think that I'm still responsible for that. But here's the thing, let me explain. Here's my side of the story. This is what is going on beneath all this like one entity hood. That's what is going on here. Okay, you want to tell the inside story, and the general rule of thumb is that you're providing a lot of details, you're providing a lot of explanation that hey, for example, you say that there's like a business like involved penalty and involved like own tax here, but you know what? That's my ex business. This is not my business. Okay. I never ran that business. I got no connection with that business. I don't even know that business exists, to be honest. Because you know what? I am I work in completely different field, and I never ask anything about the business. I never I never have any roles in that business. I never look at their accounting book and all that, right? And of course, I never claim those expenses, because if you claim the expenses, maybe that expenses have some beneficial effect to you, right? So, for example, you use that expense to buy some of you things, right? It's like a semi-commingled fund, semi use of business scenario. So it's like a false claim scenario. But so you don't want to get this looked fishy or looked complicated. You want a total separation from that. For example, if you request about a business, you're going to say, hey, I never have anything to do with that business. I never run business, I never claim those expenses. You know what? If there's money involved, I've never personally touched that money before. Okay? I got no connection. Okay? And you may expect some of the scenario if you file that correctly, and normally IRS, come on, they're pretty busy. They will process a few months later, and then they will grant this relief because you are no longer liable. Because come on, it's unfair to hold you accountable because you never know, and it's not your mistake. Okay, so and you may think, well, that seems like a lot of work to do, right? Because it's like you're guilty until you prove that you're not guilty scenario. Okay, so basically this scenario, the evidence is everything. Okay, so you have to provide evidence on your side. So basically the normal evidence is so for example, W-2s. Okay, you can attach copies of W-2s, and if you're divorced in this scenario, there's divorce decrees. Okay, you can attach that, say, hey, we already legally divorced, legally separated, right? And I have no connection. So it's you need to separate us, right? Not that treat us as a one entity because we find joint return before. Okay, right now we actually divorced. Here's a decree. Come on, we already divorced. right? And of course, you may show even some email. Okay, so that is really scenario by scenario. You know, you can hire like experts, professionals to help you to devise a plan to better describe the situation that you are in. So so help you to grant that relief. So basically, you can, for example, you can get email correspondent, right? Emails are very important, and that's the reason, to be honest, a lot of people tend to use email, not using phones, or not using, say, I don't know, like messaging apps, because you know email can like show as evidence, or you know in these scenarios it can sort of help you, can support your case, right? So basically, email say like, hey, this is an email, right? This is a correspondent, and this showing that my ex that handled all this return alone, right? So for example, it's like, you know, dear, I handle this, right? You just need to sign here, something like that. That would be better, like you know, just the direct evidence that you know your ex handled all the return, and you just signed, and you got no knowledge of what heck's going on. Okay, you might write an email, right? Say, hey, I'm taking a vacation in Hawaii, and then you know, I'm just assigning that you can handle everything, something like that. Okay, so basically, this also. If you are not at this stage yet, this also gives you a kind of reminder, okay? If it's like a happy marriage, that's good. But it's always to always have a sort of a reminder of what would happen if there is an audit, or what would happen if there is some, you know, worst case scenario happens. So you need to be better prepared. And you're not just like mentally prepared, but rather you should like documentally prepared by using the physical documentation. Okay, you need to have like a written down documentation, or email some documentation that can solidify it and then support your case. Okay, always leave proof for it. If you say, hey, I want to argue for that, you need to provide like supporting material for your arguments. So that will like make your lawyers, make your CPAs, EAs, and all this professional like really happy, because they got a strong case that I can fight for, right? So yeah, but yeah, so basically, yeah, the general rule of thumb is that, you know, RS need to see that you weren't like involved in this like forced or fraud or something like that, and you did not benefit from it. And the benefits are like really simple. Come on, you can use the, like, you can provide the all this information, financial information. Say, hey, I or like I gain nothing, I benefit nothing from it. Okay, this is just some information that I need to provide in order to argue. Okay. So if the IRS ever tries to make you pay for your ex tax fraud, you don't need to panic, okay? Because it's your ex lie, okay? It's your ex's lie. It's not you. You are innocent, and the innocent spouse relief exists in these scenarios to help you, to protect you from all this like injustice scenario. And just a one word of caution here, because there is still some time limit involved. Okay, so you got like 2 years when you receive the IRS notice. You got 2 years from the IRS notice to file. So you have to act fast, okay? Because it's a really complex form, and I know divorce and all this life happens, and a lot of scenarios can get really complicated. But I think 2 years is like a lot, like a long time. And if you like you're using professional help, and or if you like just get things sorted, I think it's a pretty long time and ambient time for you to find that if you qualify for innocent spouse relief. So yeah, that's all for today's video.